Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we want to talk a little bit about Collabora Office. A few months ago, we reviewed the original release of the Collabora Office Desktop Edition. And as fate would turn out, today they are releasing a new version of that. So what I wanted to do is look a little bit about that. But before we do that, this is what it looks like online on the code. So this is on my NextCloud server here. And of course, this is my whole book formatted for print. Obviously, I do not have the fonts installed on this server, so it's not actually going to give me the fonts correctly on this one, but you can see the document works out pretty well. They have a lot of really good things. Here I can insert a comment if I want to. It tags my NextCloud username in there and enables me to pretty much do about everything, styles and characters and things like that. Let's look at your page styles. So you can see here that all of the pages come in with it exactly as we kind of need. So really, they have done a tremendous job on this version. Bringing this up to pretty much exactly what you'd see under Microsoft Office, under Google Documents, any other full-fledged professional system, which completely makes sense because this is based on LibreOffice, which is actually quite far superior to Microsoft Office, in the opinion of this professional writer. So let's go ahead and shift on over to the online version. This is the brand new one. So this is the 2604. And this one here is actually the daily build. This is recorded before the official release. So I wanted to go ahead and have a brief look at this. So when you hit the new document, you have the writer option, you have the spreadsheet, and you have the blank presentation. So you can do each of those three options here. Now, some of the main things that they did in this version, which are different from the last one we looked at, is they really integrated everything to tie directly into your own system. So all the menus, all the pop-up, everything is going to match your system a whole lot better than the previous one that we had. They have a ton of other things. There is a massive changelog as to what they first released it into the 2604 for the online code version. But what we're going to look at here is just kind of talking about a few of the basics. So we'll go in and creating a new document here. This is your layout. We have the standard ribbon layout here. And with this has a lot of various points. We're going to look at a couple of them in a little bit closer detail. Now, they have a new AI assistant built in. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of AI. This one is turned off by default. That is actually really good. Now, I've gotten a chance to play around with this a little bit. My first test, this is the second time I'm recording this video. The first test, I just wasn't able to get it working right. I looked around a little bit further and I actually resolved my problems. I'm going to show you how to resolve your problems if you're doing a locally hosted AI server. But when you go in and have a look at this, let's go ahead and jump on over to, let's go ahead and open a document. And we are going to open our code red document if I can find it. I meant to drop it into a separate folder here so I could find it more easily. Can I search for it? There you go. Nope. If I type right, there you go. You always do that search thing. There you go. So here is the Code Red book. Now, when you open a document up, it will automatically load in this viewing mode. So if you don't want the viewing mode, you want to go to the editing mode, go ahead and hit that. And then we have things like our whole sidebar you can pull out over here. This carries with it the styles, the paragraph styles, the character styles, the paragraph styles. Once again, under format and page styles, you're going to find all the page styles. So you probably could entirely format your entire book in this particular format. Under the view, there's things like you have your dark mode if you want to go with dark mode. I've never cared for a dark mode on a word processor, but there you go. You can do that if you are so inclined. And all of the other layouts here look pretty good. So Let me double check here. Interesting. I just installed these fonts, but they're not working right. I tested them on LibreOffice. That's curious because if you notice this might be a bug. I don't know. So this here should be the Atomic Age font, which I did install on the system. Let me change it to that. Okay, this might actually, let's try that one. Works. Now let's go back to that Hammerhead font this was supposed to be. I'm wondering if this is not finding the fonts because, yeah, see, it's not finding the Hammerhead font. I think that might be because I put the fonts in a slightly different place. The other factor it could be is maybe this was running before I installed the fonts. Let me go ahead and do a quick test. I'm going to restart. Actually, I can't restart it all. There's reasons I can't restart it all. We'll do that at the very end. We'll go ahead and see if this will find it on the very end. But you can see, you can change all the fonts. And all the other layouts good. You can actually do, one of the new things is the review changes option. This is actually really good in that you can see the current version and the edited revised version if you are so inclined. So you can go ahead and have a look at what each of those look like. This is useful, of course, if you're doing any form of the review stuff, you're leaving comments, you're recording those changes and things like that. Speaking of comments, this is what they look like over here. You highlight something, and as soon as you highlight it, you'll see this window will pop in. We can change our font. We can change a number of different primary things, and we can do a comment. Here, it's just pulling my computer name or my username, really. So I can leave my comment. I can add it. I can delete it. I can do whatever I need to. So you can see here that this has become an entirely full-fledged system. Now, some of the things under the hood are just going to make the thing work a whole lot better, which is very useful. The clipboard is working properly now. All of the various other features to bring this up in alignment with most other desktop editors are here. Now, the one thing they have not addressed yet in this version is I really wish, since Collabora is really designed to work flawlessly with its internet-based, in fact, that's really their thing, is to say this layout exactly as they're doing it in here, everything works exactly the same way as the online version. And really, they've accomplished that. This is online. Let me get back to where that one was at. And this is the one we're working with. They are nearly identical. And so they have done a tremendous job at this. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is I want to talk about the AI. So I've been playing around, and I actually played around with the AI over here a little bit because I was having a few problems with it, and I wanted to try and get those resolved and see, is something broken or something wrong on my end or whatever else. So what I did here is I pulled up, this is the summary for my science fiction novel Synaptergy. And what I wanted to do is I said, you do these short summaries. And then I said, hey, give me a more compelling version of the summary. Now, I didn't think, I didn't actually tell exactly how long to make it. So there's a thought there. But I asked it basically to rewrite the summary. And so the old summary reads, Mark woke up in a hospital room, unable to remember why he was there. This was overshadowed by his being paralyzed. And one day his life went from happy young man learning a trade to being helpless to do basic tasks on his own. That's the first paragraph. The rewritten summary, Mark awakens in an alien hospital room, disorientated by amnesia clouding his thoughts. The immediate shock isn't just forgetting why he's there. It's discovering he can't move at all. The world he knew from apprentice electrician reduced to... Okay, this is what was... I have no idea where they get apprentice electrician, nor is this happening on an alien hospital room. So you always got to edit your AI, double check. But you can see the general use of verbiage, and this is nice and compelling. I look at this and go, this is actually really good. Obviously, I do want to, he's not an apprentice electrician, nor again is anything to do with an alien world. So I'd want to edit those few things around. But you can see that the summary that it gave us is actually pretty good. And this actually was generated by the DeepSeek model. So basically, I come in here, you turn on your AI assistant over here. Let's turn this guy on right here. And then basically I said, this is a short summary for science fiction, rewrite it. It says, okay, go ahead and paste it in down here. So I pasted the summary in and they rewrote the summary and then I could drop it in. Since we talked briefly about that review, let's go ahead and look at those changes side by side. Looks like it's actually only doing the changes from just what I just did here. You see, I accidentally hit an underline somewhere. So let me check that. Okay, those are not hidden. Okay, there you go. That's what I accidentally, if you guys caught that in the video earlier, I accidentally hit the underline button, which I did not mean to do. So I guess that's going to show us kind of more recent changes. So let's go ahead and talk about how to get the AI working and the problems I had and how I got that resolved in case you're into this, but you want to use a local AI model, because I personally do not like feeding big tech. So let's go ahead and play with our own. First, you're going to go to your home and you're going to go down to options. Under here, there's the options for the AI assistant. And then you have a drop down here, which gives you OpenAI, Grok, Together AI, and Mistral AI. Never heard of that last. Actually, never heard of the last two. Or I go down to custom OpenAI compatible. So I enter the URL of my server. So that is all turned on. Now, for whatever reason, you need an API key, and my server doesn't have an API key, so I just entered a digit 0. And then that allows you to come down here and pull in your models. Now, one of the challenges is that something in this is using tools which are incompatible with the Gemma 3. Which is kind of the one I sort of wanted to use, but it is not compatible, presumably because of the tools. So let's go, let's just do a testing. You'll see down at the bottom, this is now changed to Gemma 3. Go ahead and do this, and it says invalid request, and I can just hit that over and over. It's not working. That tells me that there's something in this that is using tools, which Gemma 3 is incompatible with tools. So if I do the latest or the Gemma 3.4, that doesn't work. I don't remember if the 4 is also incompatible with tools or not. So let's go ahead and go back and have a brief check. Let's do testing here. Let's see if that works. That looks like it's thinking. So it looks like that one will actually generate us something useful. So there's always that. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here and see what it comes up with. All right, so it comes back here. It says, I see your testing. I'm here, whatever you want, blah, 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 blah. So that works just fine. So apparently Gemma 4 is compatible with tools, and I think I noticed that myself as well. So there's one more thing, though, I want to show you, because this actually caused me a little bit of a problem. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to, I don't know, maybe we'll keep it there. I don't know. We'll come back and play with it later. I did not test the image generation. My server is a text AI system. I do have an image generation server one, but I have not played around with it enough to know what I'm doing. The last thing you want to do is your request timeout. I was constantly having problems because the timeout default here is 240. I kept on getting timeout. I'm like, what's going on? So the problem here is that my individual server here is designed just to run literally off of a laptop CPU. It is not particularly fast. Now, Gemma 3 will spit out articles for me really quickly because it's only like a 3 billion parameter model or something like that, or something small. Maybe it's 4, I forget. You get into like to the 8 billion parameter models, those start taking a long time. And even in my open web UI, if I go ahead and I try and run that something like a DeepSeek or a Llama or something like that, it will take a long time to get a response out of it. And so what I had to do in this system here is increase that request timeout. I put it up to 1,000 seconds there, which would give it a good long time. And ever since I did that, I started actually getting those results. So that's how I end up getting it to the point where I was able to interact with it. Yeah, it took a while, but that may be worth it for you to take a while. It may not be. That is kind of up to your call. But at least I was able to test the built-in AI feature does work here. We looked at the formatting, all the basic things. This editor is coming along really well. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be covering this pretty soon on my writing channel sometime as well, comparing it to some of the other ones that are out there. You do have your export options. You can do Markdown. Oh, this is another thing I didn't mention actually, is if you have a file that's Markdown, you can paste it in here and it will automatically convert it, which is actually a useful feature for when my Open Web UI is not working and I have to use something like my Reams on my other system. Rens? Is it Reams? Whatever that thing is. There is a nice Flatpak tool that I use for and interfacing with my AI server when Open Web UI is not working. That exclusively gives me Markdown. I have to paste it into something else. I usually just drop it up into my NextCloud server, which also fixes it perfectly. But you can export it in a number of different ways. You know what? Let's go ahead and do a quick test on something here. Let me go. I have code red here. Let me go ahead and hit that export button over here. I'm going to export to an EPUB. I'm just going to see what it looks like. Okay, I'm just going to create a new folder here called docs. We're going to put the formatted one there, and let's go ahead and open that guy back up. And I thought I put it there. Maybe I put it under documents. Where did I put that? Home? Oh, put it under home. All right, so here's the EPUB. Let's have a look at what this looks like. Well, I'm seeing that just like LibreOffice, Microsoft Word, and pretty much anything else that purports to export an EPUB, it creates an abomination. This is not a fault of Collabora. Every single program looks like that. I just thought I'd go ahead and give it a try. Nope, doesn't work well. That's okay. Nothing ever does. I usually do it on LibreOffice, and then I open it up in Sigil and go ahead and fix the ebooks from there. But overall, this works really well. It's coming along nicely. The AI features are nice that they're disabled and gives you the choices to what you want to work with, including local. And I gotta say, this has given some other Office documents a pretty good run for the money. I want to go ahead and address that font issue here before we close out the video. And over here we have, you can see that our fonts are now properly in here. Let me go ahead and switch that back to editing mode. And so now the fonts are in here. There's that one. The other one we were looking at was the Hammerhead. And then, the other thing I really, really like is I can actually see what the fonts are. Now, what was going on there initially is, of course, Linux Mint handles fonts a little bit differently. Many Linux distributions, you can put the fonts in the .fonts folder, and indeed, LibreOffice reads the fonts in the .fonts folder just fine. So that's not a problem. In fact, I think everything, do I have OnlyOffice? I don't think I have OnlyOffice on this computer. Nope. I'm pretty sure all of the text editors I tried could read that. But here on Linux Mint, it couldn't read the fonts in here. I don't know why that is. I was like, is it system installed? But then I realized 1942 is in there, and that's kind of where Linux Mint stores fonts, which is a little bit different place than most distros. This is in the .local/share/fonts. So I had to move the fonts from the .fonts folder over into Linux Mint's official font folder. That allowed me to get my fonts inside of Collabora here. So I did want to return back to that. I couldn't close everything down to fully test that because I was testing the AI stuff and wanted to show you that without having to redo it all again. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts about Collabora in the comments down below. Is this a good replacement for you, or is this just another editor that you'll know exists and will or may not look at it? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.